One day every nation, they gon' all know his name. Let everything that have breath call on his name. Yahuwah is Alua, bring no harm to his name. Palms to the heavens, I belong to his name. One day every nation, they gon' all know his name. Let everything that have breath call on his name. Yahuwah is Yahusha, bring no harm to his name. Palms to the heavens, I belong to these names. Bow down, every knee shall bow. Yahuwah is his name, I proclaim it out loud. Bow down, every knee shall bow. Yahusha HaMashiach, I proclaim it out loud. Those that worship Yahuwah must worship him in spirit and in truth. How can you do that if you attach your worship to a lie? There is no power in the name of Jesus or any other name given to man other than Yahuwah Yahusha. Barabba Hasham Yahuwah Yahusha. Tarasha Kanan Ukasad Yahuwah Alua Heinu Bashamayam. One day every nation, they gon' all know his name. Let everything that have breath call on his name. Yahuwah is Alua, bring no harm to his name. Palms to the heavens, I belong to his name. One day every nation, they gon' all know his name. Let everything that have breath call on his name. Yahuwah is Yahusha, bring no harm to his name. Palms to the heavens, I belong to these names. Bow down, every knee shall bow. Yahuwah is his name, I proclaim it out loud. Bow down, every knee shall bow. Yahusha HaMashiach, I proclaim it out loud.
Hey, Xer.
Abba Yahuwah, this an honest discussion. Not worthy of your grace when I reject your instruction. Why do you love me, Father, often feeling unworthy? Still struggle with my flesh, but you still show me mercy. My family not there, I see the love that you show me. Consider suicide just to be with you closely. My mother doesn't love me and we've all made mistakes. And to her I'm not good enough, I'm just a disgrace. I'm not a perfect man, yeah I'm flawed and will fall. But you look beyond my faults and the assault of my thoughts. And I wasn't born righteous, I was born as a sinner. Satan had me in his grasp, he's a horn-shaped shifter. Sick and tired of the struggle, sick and tired of oppression. Await the reign of Jacob, the inheritance of blessings. Yahuwah my Father, honest is all I can be. Why do you truly love me? Cause within I can't see. Yeah, these nations all hate us, yeah, it's true and apparent. Since I'm speaking honestly, let me be transparent. These Gentiles hate us cause of what we'll inherit. They fear the black Messiah, they think it's so nightmarish. I hate Babylon, America, one day she'll burn. The Jewish stole our heritage, one day they gon' learn. Father, know what you said, I believe what you promised. But your people are so tired of being impoverished. No matter what we do, we just can't get ahead. And so many of our people locked up or they dead. And this world hates your people and deny the oppression. And they sure don't want the curses, but they want all the blessings. Now they mad that we fighting back, they fear the oppression. We'll never forget the evil and we learned a harsh lesson. They teaching to the masses that the Christians replace this. Judgment coming to the heathens, not the ones who embrace us. I'm coming to you humbly, this an honest discussion. You promise to avenge us and you promise destruction. It's an honest discussion. Honest discussion. I'm coming to you humbly, this an honest discussion. You promise to avenge us and you promise destruction. It's an honest discussion. It's an honest discussion.
Hey, Xer. Hey, Yexer.
Ab Yahuwah Alua of all creation, may your name be esteemed upon high forever. When I feel alone, I put my trust in Yahuwah. When the world is telling me who I am doesn't matter, I follow your word. When my enemies come against me, I stand strong. I believe in your son Yahusha and the power of his redemptive blood. When I call on your name, I know you hear me beyond everlasting hills, beyond the heights of the Shamayim. When I'm at my lowest, I put my trust in the Most High. I do not believe in a higher power. I believe in the highest power, who is Yahuwah Ha'alua Ba'yasharah. Ab Yahuwah Nathak Takbula Kakma'u Aruka Yasha Amu Hekam Yasharah Naha Yakub Lashu Kadumarak Kakabud La Hashamuth Yahuwah U Yahusha. There is power in your Kadash name. There is uprightness in your Torah. There is joy everlasting in your perfect will. Your love knows no limits, and your mercy abounds. May every so-called black man be made a priest for you. May the daughters of Zion be comforted, protected, and led in righteousness by the men of Yasharah. May every Yasharali child be instructed in your Torah. Father, help us to stand against our enemies. Give us strength, perseverance, and endurance in these last days. Lead us to a place of shalom, safety, and protection everlasting. For there is no one like you. Yahuwah Alua Hinu, Yada Yahuwah Alam. I give you all of me. Aman.
I give you all of me. I give you all of me. I give you all of me.
Hey, Yexer.
Shalom, 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 shalom. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hey, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Do I sound good, y'all? Like, am I good? I have to start opening these streams up with like at least making sure the audio is good. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hey, whoa. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hey, oh, okay, I'm good. All praises. Okay, for sure. Had to make sure I got it right. So, shalom to everybody. I'm praying that everybody's doing well out there today. I just want to come on here real quick. I will not be long, but I will be strong. All praises to the Most High. So I just wanted to remind you guys that I'm dropping a video in about an hour here on YouTube. Now, if you are on the Patreon, it's premiering in 2 minutes on Patreon. Now, to people who are on Patreon, normally I'm not there during the premieres on there because when I do Patreon releases or Patreon videos, because I always release stuff on Patreon first before I put it on here, especially like the bigger stuff. But I'm usually not there, you know what I'm saying, when it's going live and stuff like that. I'm usually only live when it's like YouTube. So if you do join the Patreon, I'm not going to be at the drops that I do on Patreon, but I'll always be at the drops on YouTube because that's where the core of my audience is. So, but you know, it should be dropping in about 2 minutes on Patreon if you're there. But let me just show y'all what we working with. No Diddy. So this is the film right here. The Pale Rebellion, Extended Research, the Director's Cut. And to those who are wondering what this video is I'm going to be doing tonight, this is the research that I did in the film from the Pale Rebellion. So y'all know the documentary I just dropped, The Fallen Angels and the Pale Rebellion. This is just footage and information and research that I had originally recorded for the film, but I just didn't end up putting it in the final version of the video because it would have been too long. It would have been well over. If I would have put this in the original movie, the original film would have been about 5 hours and 40 minutes. So it would have been like an hour and 40 minutes more on top of the 4 hours that I already had. And I was just like, I might as well just, you know what I'm saying? If I'm going to continue to make this series, because I'm going to be real, bro. A lot of people like the stuff I be on. I'm not going to even lie. A lot of people, they rock with the stuff I be showing. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's more people who rock with the content I make versus people who don't. Because to be real with you, it's just a lot of like white people and racists who watch my videos because they know I'm bringing out the truth over here. Just like when the whole John Truth thing went down and, you know, people were like, oh, you know, Yexer's just jealous. Jealous? Nigga, why would I be jealous of the fallen seed? Why would I be jealous of people who are not even made by Yahuwah? Why would I be jealous of them? I'm not jealous of that white boy. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be real with you. I know I've made, okay, yeah. So the video is just now dropping on Patreon. So let me explain this. I personally think that my experience with John Truth was the beginning for me to get to where I'm at now, to see them for what they are. Why do you think white people struggle so much with this truth? You know why? They're not meant to be saved. Have y'all ever considered that? Have y'all ever actually considered that the reason why they have such a hard time grappling with the truth is because they're not meant to? They're not Adamic. I keep telling people that. They are something else, which obviously would point more to Cain. The greatest lie of the Indo-Europeans is that they're descendants of Japheth. Once we destroy that lie, you know that they're not Adamic because they definitely didn't come from Shem. They definitely didn't come from Ham. Matter of fact, I was reading Rudolph R. Windsor's book. What is it? It's Babylon and Timbuktu. And he says how the descendants of Japheth were originally black, but somehow they became so-called white. My theory on that is, number one, sometimes I have to say things over and over again because people don't understand. Listen to me. I do not believe in Yaqub. And when I say Yaqub, I'm not talking about Jacob. I'm not talking about Isaac's son that became, you know, who the promise will go through. The father of the 12 tribes. I'm not talking about Yaqub, our father, Jacob. I'm not talking about him. Well, he's not our father, but, you know, he's a patriarch of the 12 tribes, the father of the children of Yasharal. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about that alien, you know what I'm saying, with the big old head, and people be all like, yo, is this true? No, it's not true. And I got to show it again because people are still sending me messages asking me, Yexer, what do you think about this? I don't believe in it. It's Islamic doctrine. And black people, you know, I got to be honest, man. We too quick to accept all types of lies, bro. I do not believe in this thing here, okay? This Yaqub thing, which is like this alien with the mega mind head. You know what I'm saying? It's like a black alien. And the lie is that, and then you can see the Islam, it mentions Islam in this, the Nation of Islam. So what I'm trying to get y'all to understand is I do not believe in this, okay? Meaning, I do not believe some black man made a white man in the lab and the white race in the lab. I don't believe in that. I think that's stupid. I think that's retarded. I think that's goofy. When you look at the fact that white people are, you know, essentially mutations, then that means that something genetic happened. And it had nothing to do with no lab. Something genetic took place that caused them to spring forward, which is the union between the fallen and the daughters of Cain. So I don't believe in follow and listen to Islam. I can't stand these raggedy, crusty Arabs. So don't come to me with no Islam doctrine. Do not ask me about it because I only believe in the Bible. How many times I got to say that? I only believe in the scriptures. I don't believe in no other text. I don't believe in the Talmud. I don't believe in the Quran. I don't believe in anything other than the scriptures. And I don't even like saying Bible because that's not what it was. I believe in the scrolls, the Magaluth, or the scriptures. Y'all notice a lot of times I don't refer to the scriptures as the Bible. Have y'all noticed that? I don't, because that's not an accurate thing. That's a European thing. You know what I'm saying? That they call it the Bible. They were called Hamagaluth or Kathubim Hakadash. You know what I'm saying? The sacred writings. I don't even like saying holy because holy is a pagan word, right? It's a lot of words I'll be trying to just avoid saying, but they were a collection of different scrolls preserved over time. And what ended up happening was those scrolls were seized by the Roman Catholic Church, and the Roman Catholic Church basically took all those scrolls, they watered stuff down, and then they presented it in one thing called the Bible. But our people, when you read the Hebrew text, it always says scrolls. Or if it says Sephar, which means book, it's not referring to an actual book. It's referring to scrolls. I need you to understand everything. Books didn't exist back then. Let me say it again. Books didn't exist in biblical times. Everything was written on scrolls. And prior to the written Torah, most things were engraved in stone, which is why you find a lot of ancient Hebrew, Abari text inscribed in stone in a lot of these, images you see and stuff like that online. So during Abraham's time, a lot of things were inscribed in stone. And then around the time of Masha or Moses, there actually was a language that was spoken and which was written by Yahuwah himself, which was Abari. So when you look at the 10 Commandments, they were written in Abari by Yahuwah, not Moses, not Masha. Granted, Masha wrote the first 5 books he wrote the first 5 scrolls of the collective of the scrolls, but the 10 Commandments were written by Yahuwah. Literally, his finger appeared and he engraved on the sapphire stone tablets the 10 Commandments, and he wrote it in Abari. Just like when you think about in Daniel or Daniel, where he was at Nebuchadnezzar's, they were having some kind of feast or something like that, and Yahuwah's name appeared out of nowhere and started writing something on the wall in his hand. Can y'all imagine that? Like, you're in captivity, right? And you're basically being rebellious to the system, like me, right? And out of nowhere, this melanated hand, a melanated hand just shows up out of nowhere and starts writing something on the wall. That's kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, it's Yahuwah, all praises, right? So in that particular passage, Daniel has to translate what Yahuwah had wrote in Abari because Nebuchadnezzar didn't understand it. So when people tell me like the language don't matter and the name don't matter and all this other stuff, I have to dismiss that because, it's like you just don't understand how Yahuwah deals with his people and why the language, has been kind of watered over and diluted with heathen Hebrew and why they try to hide that that's the actual biblical Hebrew. They don't want you to realize it is. Then they give it a name like Phoenician. It's not Phoenician. It is not Phoenician. They have all these different names for Hebrew, but you notice when it comes to the heathen Hebrew, they only call it Hebrew. They don't have all these weird other names for it. You feel me? They just call it Hebrew because they want to make it the declarative, language of what they call Hebrew. But then they put names on it like Paleo Hebrew and Phoenician and ancient Hebrew and all that. I don't really get into all of that. Y'all notice I never refer to it really as Phoenician. I never really refer to it as ancient Hebrew. I say ancient Hebrew because that will make more sense to people, but I definitely don't call it Paleo Hebrew because that's not what it was called. It was called Abari, or the Abarith Lashun, the Abari tongue. So, just little things like that. But getting back to this this film, or this little thing I'm working on, basically this is just like a bunch of like research of me on the internet, going through different articles, looking at different videos. You know, it's kind of more like the format of Esau and the Horites, where, you know, towards the end, you know, when I got to the internet, we went through a whole bunch of articles and stuff like that to kind of corroborate the information. So that's essentially what it is. So it's about an hour and 41 minutes of additional stuff that is not in the original film. So just to be clear to you, this film I'm dropping tonight is not the film itself. So when you think extended cut, you probably think it's the original film plus the extra footage. No. This is just the footage. This is just the stuff that didn't make the final cut. Okay? Also, one more thing. There's another thing I need to do. So Yahuwah put this on my heart a little while ago, but it just wasn't the time for me to bring it out. And that's why I say sometimes when Yahuwah reveals things to me, I just I write it down and I take note of it. And then I, you know what I'm saying, come out later with it. And I'm like, okay, this is the right time. So I talked about understanding our forefathers. I've talked about understanding the prophets, the Nabim, the Hanabim. So I'm going to be starting a new series on here called Knowing Our Forefathers. A new series called Knowing Our Forefathers. Because unfortunately, whether people want to believe it or not, a lot of y'all are still Christians. You don't realize it, but you're still a Christian. And what I mean by that is I'm not saying, yeah, you reject white Jesus, you reject, you know, Roman Catholic Church, you reject pagan holidays, but how you feel and how you interpret the Bible is still Christianized. It is still very much Christianized. Because you're looking at the Bible kind of like an all-inclusive kind of thing. And I need y'all to break that programming. A lot of people be like, yeah, sure, I don't like what you be saying about white people. I don't like what you be bringing out. And I'm like, clearly you don't know who Yahukanan was. Clearly you do not understand Yahukanan the Immerser. So my first video in this Knowing Our Forefather series. And, you know, I'm definitely going to be building it out slow because there's a lot of people that I would have to go through. I'm not going to be able to get through everybody, but I feel like the most important characters like Yahusha, Yahukanan, a lot of the Talmudim, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand them. But I'm working on a video about Yahukanan. Let me show y'all this real quick. Close this out. So check this out. Yahukanan the Immerser. People do not understand this man. If you understand who he was and how he was, you would not be backing down from these heathens. You would not be talking about loving them. Okay? This man was an active threat to the Romans. He was an active threat to them. So much so that they literally decapitated him. Don't y'all realize every single black man that raises up against the system gonna end up dead? Well, Yahukanan was one of them. He was so overzealous for Yahuwah, he did not even live in Judea because of all the wickedness that was going on. He lived out in the wilderness. He was eating crickets. He was eating honey. And he was a revolutionary. I keep telling people this is what the Bible's about. You have to understand that these different religious sects, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Nazarene, and all that, these were different parties. Politically, if you want to be honest, if you want to put it in a modern day Afrocentric application, these were different political parties. The Sadducees and the Pharisees was house niggas. Okay? The Uncle Tom gang. All right? And then you had the Nazarene, who were a rebellious party against the Roman system. Against the Roman system. So if you want to look at it in a realistic fashion, you have to look at it as it's a bunch of, you have some black people, you know, obviously Yahudim, and you have some of these Edomites who are in these pharisaical positions, Sadducean positions, and you have some of the Negroes who are from our people who were been compromised by the Romans. These were different political parties, if you want to be honest here. If you want to look at it to make it make sense and break the programming. Yahusha was an active threat to the system. That's why they lied on the black man, so they could get rid of him. Just like when you think about Uncle Tom's, They'll literally sit there and give up their own people to please the oppressor. Why do you think that it says that the people were stirred up? The Pharisees were probably making all types of false claims about Yahusha to get our people to say, yeah, get him, take him, do what you got to do with him, crucify him. The people were riled up. This is the power of propaganda, all right? And just like our people do now, we be like, free this man, free that man, free this person, even though it's a whole bunch of footage that this black man done went into Chicago and shot up the ops. And you're talking about free him? He done unalived the whole black family. Going after, he couldn't find his ops, so he went and unalived his family. Yeah, I'm not talking about no free that nigga. He deserves to be locked up. People get the wrong idea about me. They think, you know what I'm saying, I don't ever call my people out. If I see evil coming from Yasharal, you know what I'm saying, and they get caught up in that, you know what I'm saying, hey, I ain't got no problem with it. So a person could be a criminal and unalive an innocent black person, even though they black, because they just brainwashed by the system, and the whole world, our people would be like, yeah, free that man, free that man, free that man, even though he ain't innocent, even though he unalived somebody else's family member because he couldn't get to him. I mean, at least for me, bro, where I grew up at in the hood, bro, we just kind of had this thing of, babies and children and all of that. You leave them alone. You see Negroes you got a problem with, you don't press them in front of their daughter. You don't press them in front of their son. You don't press them in front of their woman. If you a real man, you gonna deal with them and them only. That's how it was in the hood. I mean, I don't know what happened to these Negroes now, but y'all ain't got no type of decorum. Y'all ain't got no type of respect. Y'all will just unalive any black man you see. It don't even matter if he, is an op or not. Our people have just been programmed to look at the black man, any black man who challenges their narrative, any black man who pushes back against what some of our people believe. I never look at no black man with hate. Yeah, I've been to jail. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the hood. I know what that's like. You feel what I'm saying? But I refuse to look at another black man with hate. I refuse to do that. I will never do that. And I know some of our people have that mindset, because I know that they do. They have the mindset where they're taught to look at me as the op. If I go to LA right now, it don't matter. It don't matter if I grew up in the hood. All right. If I go into the 60 hood right now with the wrong hat, that might be the end. I remember one time, bro, I was in LA. I was in 60 hood actually, because I was passing through the area and I had on a black pirate hat. Cause the thing about me is I've never been the type of person that just does wears things according to what niggas think. I don't care. I've wore red and Crip hoods. I've worn blue and blood hoods. I wear whatever I want. I don't let niggas press me about that. You want to do something about it, then do it. But in certain parts of where I'm from, bro, if you go in LA, the politics is very different, bro. Let me come back on screen. The politics is very different. Out here in Ohio, you could walk around wearing whatever the hell you want to wear. Ain't nobody going to press you. Ain't nobody going to say nothing to you. Now, in certain areas in LA, depending on what hat you wearing, that could be the end of the day of days for you if you in the wrong area, in the wrong place. And yes, I have been pressed by Negroes because they like, yo, why you wearing all that red, or why you wearing all that blue over here? Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, because I want to. I've had niggas come up to me like, bro, you be wearing a lot of red. I'm like, yeah, and what you gonna do about it? You gonna unalive me because I want to wear red? You gonna unalive me because my hat got orange in it? I'm not from Hoover, but you sure as heck ain't gonna do nothing about it either. But this is just the mindset of Babylon has made us hate each other and press each other about stupid stuff. Hold on, y'all. So I'm not with that, man. I'm not with pressing our people. I can't look at my people with hate, even though I know that they still brainwashed by this system. And I pray that, right now, as I've been saying, I pray that our people will wake up and learn to come together in truth. But going back to John the Immerser, man, he was definitely what you would think of as a radical revolutionary. He was so radical. He was so revolutionary, they actually thought he was Hamashiach. And then he said, no, I'm not Mashiach. He is Mashiach. And then as he was saying that, Yahushua was walking down towards the rest of the people, and he said, behold, the Lamb of Eluah. So John was so extreme in pushing back against that system, right, to where they actually killed the man. They thought he was Hamashiach. And then he had to point them to Yahushua when Yahushua was coming down to get immersed. So I just think that you have to understand that the Bible is true, but you've only been presented it from the Roman perspective. You have not been given it in its full context. And so I'm definitely going to do a video on Yehukanan, because the Bible says, cry aloud and spare not. So how do you cry aloud and spare not? If you're scared to say certain things, you're scared to push back. Like I said, with me, I'm not a coward. Some of y'all might be cowards, or, some of y'all just might think you're wrong because you're saying these things, or you're calling these things out, or, you just don't, you're not a fan of these people or whatever. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I know what the Bible says about how teachers of the word are held to a higher responsibility than people who don't teach the word. I get all of that. I know the scriptures, and I know what the scriptures say. But the difference between me and others is I broke the programming of Christianity. When it comes to the law, when it comes to Yahusha, when it comes to, who the Bible's about, yeah, I broke all that programming, but I'm also breaking this New Testament programming stuff. Loving your enemies, and if you don't obey your master, you get 1,000 lashes. Do you really believe Yahuwah put that in scripture? Or do you believe the white man put that in scripture? I don't believe Yahuwah would literally say that. That sounds like something a white man would say. Even Yahusha's last words before he died. Let me ask y'all something real quick. This is what I'm saying. It's so much leaven they've added to this. It's so much leaven they've added to this. So much kamatz. Now, y'all tell me. I'm going to ask you a question real quick. We got a little time for this film start here on YouTube. What was Yahusha's last words according to scripture? Y'all tell me, what was Yahusha's last words according to scripture? Yes, please hit the like button, fam. There are no wrong answers here. I just want to see if y'all at least know or have an understanding of what Yahusha's last words were before he actually died. It's got to be in the book of Revelations. No, it would be when he died. Like, what were his last words before he died? I'm going to give y'all a few minutes to kind of chime it in the chat, and I'm going to show you something, because that's another thing that they messed up and twisted and jacked up. Okay, so we got a few answers. Now, let's look at what y'all are saying here. Somebody said, Ann says, it is finished. Renaya says, it is finished. Tawana says, Father, forgive them. Yahudi Blue says, it is finished. Adara says, it is finished. Yahudi Blue says, Father, forgive them. Darkid says, it is finished. Rolanda says, it is finished. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. It is finished. And then somebody said this for the Sabbath keepers. Here's the thing. Which was it? Because in the renewed covenant, there's 3 different accounts of his last words. The first one is, Ali lama shabakthanya. My all, why have you forsaken me? Right? That's what some of y'all said. Then another one is, it is finished. Then another one is, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. Which one is it? Which were his last words? That's 3 different accounts in the renewed covenant. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to understand, bro. They have lied. They have twisted Messiah's words. They have changed everything, bro. How do you have 3 different accounts of what Yahusha said before he died? And I highly, and that's what I'm saying. I even believe, bro. I even believe this Father, forgive them. They know not what they do is Christian BS. Christian BS. Chances are he most likely said, like I said, we got 3 different accounts. Chances are he most likely said it is finished. Because we know Yahusha, when it came to his suffering, that was a fulfillment of the law. The law said, the Torah said, the Tanakh prophesied that Yahusha would suffer and he would be afflicted. So it's most likely he said it is finished. Or, it could have been, Ali, Lama Shabakfanya. Father, my all, why have you forsaken me? It could be either or. Either it is finished or it could be both. But I definitely don't believe it's Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That goes along with loving your enemies. That goes along with obey your master. You get 1,000 lashes. That goes along with loving your enemies and all this goofy stuff. That's Christian stuff. It is Christian stuff, y'all. All this, like, you know what I'm saying, loving your enemies and praying for them and, submitting to them. And even when they're beating you and spitting on you and all this other stuff, he was over here talking about, forgive them for what they do. Why would Yahusha be telling Yahuwah to forgive the children of Cain? Why would Yahusha be asking Yahuwah to literally destroy, to forgive these wicked people who Yahusha's coming to destroy? That makes him look weak. And this is what I'm talking about when I talk about the scriptures and just how they have watered him down so much, just like they've watered down Yehukanan. I've had to tell people over and over again, Yahusha is a revolutionary. And I mean, if you think about it, Nat Turner and Yahusha and even Yehukanan in some ways have a lot in common. They were not just some, guy that was going along with everything. Yahusha was an active threat to their system. All of the Nazarene were. The Nazarene were a party or a sect of Yahudim that were joined themselves to the liberator Yahusha, who stood as an active rebel to the system. So when you think about it, you have to ask yourself, are you a rebel to this system or are you just going along with it? Because I also want to come on here and address this because some people seem to have an issue with me speaking on FBA. Okay? They don't like what I'm saying about them. It's like these FBA boys get so, like, they get so soft about us talking about FBA like I need to agree with you or something. I don't got to agree with you. A house nigga is a house nigga to me. It don't matter what label you call it. You could call yourself an actor. You could call yourself a industry artist. You could call yourself a whatever you want. A house nigga is a house nigga to me. A coon is a coon. A Sambo is a Sambo. So it doesn't really matter what you call yourself at the end of the day. And some of them are just like, yo, you speaking on FBA a lot. Yeah, I'm speaking on it. What you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? Because y'all sound a lot like these white supremacists. Y'all sound just like them. Just like them. Y'all got more smoke for other black people than you do the white man. And yes, FBA is funded and supported by the Tantan. Here, let me show you this real quick. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I'll show you just a little bit. Do your research. Do the knowledge. Do the knowledge. So there's this thing called the Tantan Group, and they are a Republican, right-wing, white supremacist, get rid of, you know what I'm saying, immigrants type of individuals. And what they have done is they have connected with other sects of groups that are anti-immigration, right? And they have even bought into certain black communities to push this anti-immigrant narrative. And that's why when people, people like me who got our eyes open, and I'll be like, why do y'all sound like the white man? It's because they're funded by the white man and they're using the white man's racist dog whistles. Let me show you this. That's what I'm saying. Anybody who doesn't see this for what it is, it's just because you choose to be ignorant. How do you join something like FBA? You see how much push is getting, and automatically, as a black person, your mind isn't like, wait a minute, hold on, what does the word say? Wait a minute, why is this getting so much push? What are they trying to push on black people? Because our people, unfortunately, bro, they don't like to read. They don't like to research. They don't dig deep into anything. For example, I saw Ben Ayah's video yesterday about these Jewish people and how they're doxing people. I've been telling people about that. I did a video on it a long, long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I told people that they're doxing people. They're getting their information, their social media information. They're doxing them and putting it out for the whole world to see. And he's all like, a lot of y'all have never known this. And it's true. A lot of our people don't know their enemy. And I think that's why I'm such a threat, because I just know their methods. I know how these Indo-Europeans operate. I know when there's covert racism. I obviously know blatant racism. I know their talking points. I know their tactics. I know their doctrines. I know their beliefs. I know why they think they're above us, because they think they come from the Aryan God, man. I know everything about my enemy, everything that there is to know about them. That's what makes me a threat. Now, let me show you this. So this is the Tantan group, all right? And the Tantan group is basically a white supremacist, anti-immigration white group. Here, let me show you this. And I'm going to do the video going a little bit more deeper in it so you can understand. Hold on a minute. Okay. All right, y'all. So this right here, it says the racist roots of the anti-immigration Tantan network, all right? And these are a racist, white supremacist Republican group. All right. Okay, listen to this. The three most influential anti-immigration groups in politics today are the Federation for American Immigration Reform, Numbers USA, and the Center for Immigration Studies. All three groups were founded in part by John Tantan. Tantan was an anti-population crusader who found local chapters of Planned Parenthood and was president of the group Zero Population Growth. As the global fertility rates fell, he focused more on opposing immigration, bankrolled by a similarly obsessed heiress, Cordula Scaife-May. I don't care about their names. Tantan established a propaganda machine devoted to criticizing immigration from a perspective that mixed radical environmentalism and white nationalism. Okay? And I've been warning y'all about white nationalism. I've been telling you about white nationalism. And yet you got these FBAs with American flags in their bios talking about, I love this country. This is my country. This is our country. Telling other black people, get the F out my country. Yeah, that's exactly what white people say. So yeah, if you are against my people in any way, shape, or form, I don't care where they miscatter to. I don't care if they Jamaicans, Haitians, Africans. I don't give a damn, homie. If you are pushing division against anybody that's black, because remember, this is about saving the Adamic seed. So all these different melanated people are our people. Now, they may not be what you think of as Israel. They may be heathens, but they're still Adamic. They're still people who come from Seth, even if they're not a Negro. You know, if you think about indigenous people or whatever, they you know what I'm saying? They are Adamic. Anybody with that rich mocha melanin skin, you know what I'm saying? They're Adamic. If you look like, let me show you something. Hold on. So let me show you something real quick so it can make a little bit more sense. When you look at some of the people in Africa who have never experienced slavery, and not even just Africa, but just all around the world, black people who have never experienced slavery, never intermixed with these devils, right? They are closer to the original Adamic design of all of Noah's descendants when you really think about it, because they just haven't been, infiltrated by white people. And some of them have been infiltrated, but some of them are not, some of their children did not, be born of the white man, right? They're not mixed with the white man. But let me show you something. Whenever I look at melanated people, like people in Sudan and stuff like that, Adamic seed all the way. Hunter-gatherers, indigenous people, and these, darker skinned people, they are more closely Adamic than anybody else. Like, for example, these people right here. Now, these people are from India, believe it or not. Hold on, let me share this. This right here are Adamic people. Okay? Look at that rich mocha, healthy melanin skin. These people are Adamic, homie. So again, anti-blackness just should not exist in your world, because we were called to be a light to the Adamic race. We were called to be a light to the people who come from Adam, not the fallen children, not the seed of the fallen. We're not called to be a light to them. They're nothing. They're not even made by him. We are called to be a light to the Adamic seed. People like this. Okay? They have experienced colonialism. They have experienced, having their stuff, burnt down and killed and massacred and stuff like that. This is who we're supposed to be a light to. These are the actual Adamic people. And it's not just them. It's all types of other melanated people. But I'm just trying to get y'all to understand a little bit more. Look at this. These are tribes from India. Okay? Adamic. Look at that hair. Adamic. And these are hunter-gatherers. Meaning they really just kind of, when you look at some of the more primitive tribes in Africa, for example, they mostly carry around spears and they hunt animals and they kind of stick to themselves, and they're not like super, connected to modern society. Okay. These people are Adamic. This is who we're supposed to be a light to. This man is who you will call a Gentile. I think calling white people Gentiles is a terrible thing to do, because they're not Gentiles. Gentiles fall under the Adamic people. People who are non-Israelite but still Adamic would be considered Gentiles. I can't say that about white people. They're not. They're something else. So this is an Adamic person, and this is an Adamic child. Look at that. Adamic. Look at that hair. Look at that face. Adamic. And this is in India. These black people have been in the islands. This is Sinhalese people. They have been in the islands of India for thousands. Well, I can't say thousands. I mean, a long time. They've been there longer than these white people that are there now. I'll just say it like that. Adamic. So when you're looking at all these indigenous black people, okay, you realize they are the seed of Adam. They are the seed of Adam. And no, white people are not the seed of Adam. They are not. They are the seed of Cain. So you can't be actually black. You can't be actually anti-black. If you're supposed to be a light to the nations, which are the Adamic people, how can you have any problem with anybody who's black when they're experiencing the same thing as us? Maybe not in the same aspects, right? Some of them are hunter-gatherers. They're not even assimilated into modern-day society. They kind of just mind their own business. But nonetheless, they are closer to Adam's seed than we are, because some of us, not all of us, but some of us, obviously, slavery and all of that, the colonizer could be somewhere in the bloodline. Somewhere in the bloodline, possibly. It's not everybody though, but there's some of us. So when I look at people with that rich melanin skin, I look at them like these are the people Yahuwah considers Adamic. These are the descendants of Seth. These are the people Yahuwah is going to save if they accept his son. Let's look at some more examples. I just like looking at these people because it's so much these colonizers have hidden, bro. All right. Now, these people right here are Melanesians from the Solomon Islands. Look at that. Woolly hair, black skin. They are indigenous to the Solomon Islands. So again, if indigenous people are black, that means they're Adamic. This is who you're supposed to be a light to. People who look just like you. Now, remember, when we talk about the gospel, right? It was to our people for sure. It was to our people to be liberated by Yahusha. But these other Adamic people can also be liberated if they accept Yahusha. Because again, one thing the Adamic race all have in common is them folk oppressing them. If Cain was cursed from Ha-Adamah, the earth, that means he's not Adamic. That means he is not something Yahuwah is going to be redeeming, saving, whatever. If he was cursed from Ha-Adamah, him and his descendants are done for. These are Adamic people. These are the people Yahuwah has, preserved so that Yasharal could come forth. Yeah, it's the Adamic people. That's what I'm saying. These white people have gaslit us so much into making us think they're Adamic and they're, one of Noah's sons. They can't be. If they got all these mutations, how the hell can they be Adamic? Let me show you something else. Hold on a minute. I have a little bit of information here. It's going to probably shock you. So there's a website. It's a medical website. And they have admitted that white people are not human. They're basically mutants. Let me see if I can find that here. Give me 1 sec, y'all. The greatest thing that they could do is convince the world into believing that they're actually Adamic and they're actually descendants of Adam. And you know what I'm saying? Because one thing I don't understand is if they are Adamic, why have they had so much power to destroy the Adamic seed? Because that would look to me like people who are from Cain, who would want to destroy the Adamic seed, who this promise is going to come, who this promise will come through, that would save us through Yahusha, through Yasharal, right? So if they're Adamic, then why do they have such a hate for everybody who's actually Adamic? People with melanin in their skin. They're not. I think it's a terrible thing to call white people Gentiles because they're not. They are not Adamic. They are not. Now, let me see if I can pull up this thing. Hold on, y'all. Wanted to show y'all this because, like I said, there's a lot of science. It's not just what I'm thinking and what I feel, bro. There's science. There's evidence of them even saying that these people are not human. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I got so much information, man. So much information. You know what? Actually, I have it on my Facebook. Okay, hold on. Let me go to Facebook and I'll show you there. All right. So, yeah. And also, I'm going to be doing a deeper study on race. Because a lot of people say the Bible is not about race. But it is. But not in the way you think. And I'll explain it briefly here. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I could definitely do a video on that. But the Bible is, in a sense, about race. It's just not about skin color. But race, it is definitely about. And I'm going to show you in a minute. Just give me 1 second. I want to pull something up here. Okay. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hold on. I'm trying to, hold on. I'm trying to pull this up right here real quick. Let me just go to my main page. Okay. All right, let me show you this real thing about these white folks real quick. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about race. I'm not going to go deep into it because I don't need to, but because I can do a video on it. But it's something to think about. Let me see. Where is it? And I had to explain that Yaqub thing because, I get tired of people posting stuff on my timeline and then people will think I believe in it or I agree with it or something. And I'm just like, bro, no, I don't believe in that. And I've said that plenty of times, but people don't listen. Okay, here we go. Let me show you this. So there's a human disease website and it's called Malacards. Okay. And I'm going to show you what they wrote about white people. just in case you don't believe me. You can go look it up yourself. All right, look at this. This is Malacard's, okay? Human disease database. Straight hair is a mutation of the TCHH gene. Pale skin and white skin is a mutation of the SLC 45A2 gene. Blue eyes is a mutation of the TCHH gene. Red lips from mutated pheomelanin, which is red in color. If these people have all these mutations and they are so far removed from the Adamic seed, they are not Adamic. They are not. With all these mutations, they can't be. They got recessive genes. Black people got dominant genes. Why would they be Adamic? Would they have recessive genes? And I'm not saying black people can't inherit recessive genes, because you can. It's very, very true that that can happen. But in the grand scheme of things, white people have recessive genes and everything. Everything about them is mutation. So that means they're not Adamic. And I'm trying to help black people understand that. They're not Gentiles. They're not even of the Adamic race. Now, let's talk about race. Just briefly, because we're going to get off of here because the film is dropping in about 15 minutes. So what do I mean by race? When I talk about race, I'm not talking about skin color. Okay? I am not talking about skin color. That's what them people do. When I'm talking about race, because it wouldn't be nations. If you think about the Adamic seed, it wouldn't be a nation like Yasharal. Yasharal is a nation. The reason why I say race is because a race is more than just one nation. Yasharal is one nation. The Adamic race is everybody who comes from Adam through Seth, through Enosh, and through, going down to Enoch and his three sons, or Enoch and then Noah and his three sons, and so on and so forth. So this is multiple nations. All right. You've got the Hamites. And when I'm talking about the sons of Noah, I'm talking about the original ones. All right. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So you have all these different groups of melanated people under one lineage. That is a race. Okay. Yasharal is not a race. It is a nationality. Okay. Why? Because it's one nation. The Adamic race itself is a multitude of different peoples that sprang from Noah's three sons. So there's the Adamic seed, or the Adamic race, which is a multitude of many nations under that same lineage. And then you have, obviously, people who are from the other side of things. Also, according to the scriptures, hold up. Somebody, Dark Kid says, can we also say Chinese, Japanese are not from Adam? Them white ones, definitely not. These white Asians, these pale Filipinos and all that, they're not Adamic either. They're mixed with the fallen seed for sure. Let me show you. Okay. I can easily answer that. Let me show you this other thing. I can show you black Filipinos. I can show you black Chinese. I can show you all of that. So if the original ones are black, then these white ones are mutants. They are mixed with the fallen. And this is what the Indo-Europeans have done, is they have mixed themselves with the Adamic seed to try to hide amongst the Adamic seed. So let me show you some black Asians and Filipinos, because they exist. You just don't see about it because they want to hide this, because they don't want you to realize who the Adamic seed is. So let me show you. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Look at this. These are black Filipinos. Let me show you this. Like I said, the more you realize everybody was melanated, the more you're going to realize not everybody's Adamic, especially people who are not black. I'm just saying, I know that hurts your feelings, but I don't care, bro. The truth is the truth. The people made in his image are black. They're melanated. They're not non-melanated. Melanin is the blueprint of Yahuwah. Look at these Filipinos. They are definitely Adamic. 100%. The pale white-skinned ones, they're not Adamic. Which is why I just say mixing is such a bad idea. It really is. Why dilute your bloodline? Just saying. So these are some Filipinos, and let me show you some other ones. Look at that. Adamic, not white. But why do they hide these people from us? Why don't they want us to know the original melanated people were black? I mean, the original inhabitants of this earth were black. It's because it writes them out as being from Adam. These are Filipinos. Black. Let's look at some more of them. I already showed you these. These are the Melanesians. Look at that. Indigenous. Look at that hair. Indigenous, 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 Adamic, 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 Adamic. Adamic. Look at that hair. Look at that build. These are Adamic melanin people. Look at the cornrows, y'all. These are indigenous people with cornrows. Come on, man. Adamic. Adamic. Look at that. Okay. I think that's it. I got some other images of some of these indigenous people. Hold on. Let me see if I can find more of them. I'm just trying to help y'all understand who the Adamic people are. But not everybody is Adamic. And according to the scriptures, if you are not descended from Adam, you're not even considered a man. So you have man, and then you have mankind, or a different type kind of man. Let's look at some more Adamic people. It's so eye-opening, you know what I'm saying, when you come into this understanding. Look at this. The hidden faces of the world. So the original Melanesians, black. The original people from New Zealand, black. The Andaman Islands in India, black. Australia, black. Filipinos, black. Egypt, black. Papua New Guinea, black. Bougainville, black. Thailand, black. This is the Adamic seed. These are Adamites. These are Adamic people. This is who you're supposed to be a light to, because they have dealt with the children of Cain and have been wiped out by them. This is your Adamic people. This is your family. This is why I'm saying hating black people is not in any way, shape, or form of Yahuwah. And yes, there have been heathens, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're not heathens, because they're not Yasharal. But they're still Adamic. So if they accept Yahusha, they can be saved. They can definitely be, liberated from these colonizers too, and serve the Most High. Granted, they will be servants, but they can be liberated because they are Adamic. This is who you're supposed to be a light to. Let's look at some more of them. Let's see. All right. Look at this. Here's some more Filipinos right here. Filipinos, black. Blackity black. Look at this. Ancient Chinese. Look at that hair. Look at that hair. Okay? So what I'm saying is, these things have happened and taken place and been hidden from you on purpose, because there's a cover up here. There's a cover up here. And it has a lot to do with a certain race of people who are not Adamic but want you to believe they are. Even though they mixed into the Adamic seed, they're already cursed and separated from Yahuwah anyway. So even if they mix with these other people, they're still not Adamic. Yeah. So the more you look into this information, the more you study this, and the more you realize how much they've covered up, you cannot sit here and tell me that these people are Adamic. Look at this, another one. This is a black Filipino woman. Look at that hair. Beautiful black woman, right? I think she's actually a Filipino too. And unfortunately, you see that Christian cross. So sad. So sad. But these are all, pieces of information that I think Black people need to be studying more and bringing out more and talking about more. And the more and I notice how triggered they get when I show that the original inhabitants of this earth were Black. I look at how angry they get, how mad they get. And I'm just like, why does that bother you so much? It's the truth. Because it shatters the narrative. One thing that they can't handle is accountability. One thing that they can't fathom is being held accountable for all the lies, because they're just so used to the ideal of just like saying things and making claims with no proof. And when you're able to make people think it's the truth and not be questioned for it, obviously you're going to continue to tell the lie. But then when there's pushback against that lie, now all of a sudden they want to turn around and claim you're being racist because you're bringing out the truth. And I'm like, well, I mean, from what I'm looking at and what I can see here, y'all ain't Adamic. Y'all are far from Adamic. Let me show you another thing. This is ancient Egyptians. These ancient... Whoops. My bad, y'all. Okay. Let me show you this next thing. Ancient Egyptians. Look at this. Look at the statue. Look at those braids. Why do you think they knocked the nose off? In every single sphinx or image of Kemet, why they always knock the nose off? Look at the hair. Come on, y'all. Do y'all not realize that the whitewashing is a huge part of the delusion? It is a huge part of the deception. Yeah. So much, you know what I'm saying? It's just so much evidence and proof. And y'all can see, bro, I've been doing a lot of research. I'm always researching, honestly. Every day for me, I take advantage of the opportunity of information. And that's why I call myself a minister of information, because when you come here, bro, you're going to learn something, especially if you're not hip to this. I know a lot of times I repeat myself, things I might have talked about prior or, already. But in actuality, it's really more so, just me knowing the truth and wanting to share it with people because I just love the truth that much. And if things were to the contrary about us being indigenous and all that, or not being indigenous and stuff, then I wouldn't really care. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, well, because I accepted that white academia lie for so long until I discovered the truth. And it starts with looking at this from an Israelite perspective, this whole book. Now, let me show y'all one more thing. So I showed you guys the ancient Egyptians. I got a few more images I can show y'all of them. Hold on. So when you look at like these the Cushitic people, and in the film tonight, I know it's about to start in like 3 minutes. All right, we still have a 5-minute countdown, so don't worry, we'll get there in time. I'm gonna drop the link in a second for the so you guys can join me over there. Let's look at some more of these Egyptians, yeah. Let's look at the hair texture. Look at that. Just like the statues. And some of the Ethiopians of today, definitely could descend from those Egyptians, some of those Somalians, some of those people from South Sudan. The people of Sudan, man, totally 100% Adamic. Let's look at South Sudanese people. I mean, just that healthy, you know what I'm saying, melanin in the skin, man. It's just like it's proof of a creator. When I look at other Black people, not just our people, of course, our people, I see Yahuwah all day, but even just other Black people, you know what I mean? Like the people in Sudan, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's proof of a creator. I just see so much beauty in all Black people. I really do. Let me just put Sudan woman. And keep the people of Sudan in your prayers, because there is a war going on right now, because these freaking rusty, dusty, raggedy Arabs are going around brutalizing and unaliving them. So, there's a whole war going on right now in South Sudan because these Arabs are trying to basically take it over. Wow. Oh my goodness. Look at this woman, y'all. Absolutely beautiful. Look at her eyes. Look at that skin. Beautiful, bro. Beautiful. And like I said, people don't teach you that Africa is genetically and ethnically very, very diverse. Very, very diverse, but they don't want you to understand this. They want you to hate Africa in every way because these FBA, COINTELPRO, Sambo Negroes are being... Now, I'm not saying every black person who claims FBA is controlled by this group, but the people in the higher positions that lead this movement are definitely bought and paid for. Just like I say, not all of our people who are in camps are Freemasons. I'm not saying that. Some of our people are genuinely seeking Yahuwah, and they just happen to come across some of these videos on YouTube and end up following them. They're not Masons, not everybody, but definitely the leaders are. Nathaniel, definitely a Mason. Definitely an undercover cop. Definitely working for the devil. Yeah, he tells a little bit of truth, but they still mix it with a bunch of lies. So it dilutes the truth. All right, so this is somebody, and let me show you something else. I got another thing I want to show you. Give me a second. Hold on a minute. I just think about the perfection of the Most High when I look at other black people, man. In all truth, I just think about how perfect our Father is, how flawless his design is of us. You know what I'm saying? I love everything about, being black in every way, shape, or form. I think being black, I wouldn't want to be nothing else. If I could be born again, homie, I want to be blacker. All right. Let me show you the Sudanese one. Bro, this is Adamic seed, bro. Adamic seed. I actually know a girl that was she's from South Sudan. You know what I'm saying? Very, very dark, rich, melanin skin. I've been dealing with our people in the continent since I started understanding the Bantus and the Igbos and stuff like that. So, like I said, I think it's important you connect with other Africans. I keep telling y'all, I think that's so important for you to do, especially when you got stuff like social media and you can talk to other people. Start following African creators, start following, African YouTubers, African TikTokers, on Facebook. I'm sure some of y'all definitely are in contact with some Africans. You've got other Bantus. Find you some Bantu channels on YouTube to follow. Get closer to African people, man. Get closer to them, because like I said, when it comes to some of y'all's lives and decisions and what you're going to have to do moving forward as this place becomes more dangerous, you're going to have to definitely build some relationships. All right. So this is a woman from South Sudan. All right. Look at that melanin skin, man. Just beautiful, bro. Okay, let me mute this. Look at that. Bro, her skin is perfect, bro. Her skin is perfect. Yeah. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. That's what I always say. So, yeah. If you don't, Justin says, I wish I had some African friends. If you're on social media, you can go find some. And I'm going to be real with you. A lot of the relationships I have with Africans is through social media. A lot of the people I've talked to, I've had conversations with, I've come to understand Bantu culture. I've had conversations with other Africans because I follow a lot of African people. I follow Pan-Africans, even though I'm not so much a Pan-Africanist. I kind of lean more towards Pan-Africanism, but I'm saying that because I could say I'm not a fan of Pan-Africanism because I don't embrace all the ways of Africa, especially when it comes to like ancestral worship and, voodoo and hoodoo and all that. I don't rock with none of that. I believe in serving Yahuwah. And every other Adamic person who wants to serve Yahuwah, they're welcome to do that. But I just don't believe in us all collectively coming together. And, there's some people who are doing, hoodoo, voodoo, and don't want to serve the true creator. So, no, I'm not a Pan-Africanist. But I would love to see all African peoples and melanated Adamic people to serve the Most High along with Yasharal, the chosen. And that is my desire for the Adamic seed, is that they will come out of these other traditions that they were in and truly come and serve the Most High in truth. But I still follow Pan-Africans, and I still follow other people who just, you know what I'm saying, are you know, African and know the continent. I talk to a lot of people, have a lot of conversations with a lot of people. And, you know, even out here in my city, or like where I'm at in the state, when I see Africans, I talk to them. We have conversations. We sometimes, if they cool enough, I'll exchange numbers with them and we could talk about African history. Every moment I see an African, I make sure to love on them. Anytime I see a black person, I make sure to love on them. Anytime I see one of my own, I make sure to love on them. That's what we require to do by Yahuwah. But anyway, y'all, look, I'm going to jump off of here because the film is actually starting now. And let me drop the link real quick. I just want to come on here real quick and just kind of talk about some stuff. Let me share the link. I'm dropping the link in the chat. I'll see y'all over there, man. Shalom. All praises to the highest Yahuwah. We'll talk whenever I get back on. All right. This is the link to the video, to the documentary. Is dropping right now. Like, it's literally dropping like right now. So I'll see y'all there. All praise to the Most High. I'm not going to play no outro music, man. I love y'all. And don't forget, I will be doing a video on Yehukanan. Okay? Very, very soon. Love y'all. Shalom.